Hey guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we're going to continue in our series of the recipe mini album. So through yesterday, this is where we've got our covers all nice and put together and decorated, and the inside we put a clear pocket, which is definitely difficult to see right here. And we put in our 3 pages, which are actually 6 because you got pockets on both sides to make our 3 signature pages here. So let's get started doing some decorating of those glassine bags. If you're just joining us and you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back a couple of videos and you will see where we started working on this album. And you can also visit the links in the description of this video down below, and it'll take you to my Etsy shop where you can pick up the whole kit that's got everything you need to put together one of these albums, from the chipboard to the cardstock to pattern paper to all the little goodies and tags and ribbons. Or if you have a stash that you'd like to use up, you can pick up just the PDF version or the digital download. And that's only $7.99, so really good deal on that one. Okay, so let me put this one away. And let's get started. So if you're following along on your cutting guide, I'm on page 13. Right here near the top, it tells you how to cut down your paper to mat these pages that we're going to be working on. So I did that 3 times because I'm going to use the same formula on the fronts of these glassine bags 3 different times. So let me show you there. First of all, it tells you to get those 3 glassine bags you had left over when we put the pages together and fold them in half. So I've got 2 of them done. Let's do this one together. So this is the opening. I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I'm going to take the bottom of my glassine bag and I'm going to line it up with the top of the opening on the other side, because you can see through it of the glassine bag, just like that. It's not going to come all the way up to the top. It's going to come up to the opening of the bag on the other side, and that's pretty easy to see. All right, and so then I'm just going to take my bone folder. It's very easy to score. Here we go. So now this sticks out the top, and this lines up. I'm gonna grab my art glitter glue. This will make it very easy. You'll have to tell me how you keep up with your pen on your art glitter glue. I know they offer, and I bought a couple of different options there, but for now I'm putting it to the side of me on a magnet to try to keep up with it a little better. I'm not very good at using the stopper topper, which I love, but I'm not good at putting my stopper topper back in my bottle. Okay, so now we have this pocket that's reinforced because it's all these different layers thick. And then I'm going to take my distress ink, since we folded at the bottom, and give that a good inking, since I've already done the rest of this all the way around last time. So I'm not going to put my pen back in because we're going to start gluing down. So what I did is I went by the cutting guide and I cut out page 1, which was this plaid paper. And then it tells you to cut out, this half sheet, or this, half, what is it called? Well, it just calls it the cows, huh? Because this is what's going to go over your glassine bag like that. And then a little bitty strip of the little cows. So I did that again for the next page. It's going to be like that garden pattern, and then the daisy and the strip of red, and then the third one is the chickens or the crows. That's not crows, that's a rooster. I said the wrong word. The chickens, roosters, and then the striped paper, and then the dots. So that's what I've got cut out for mine. So let's start gluing down. Yeah, if you go ahead and follow that cutting guide, this was going to go really, really quick, because you can cut them all out. You can ink up all the edges at one time, and then you can glue them all down at one time. And we're going to do the backs the same way. Sometimes when I design mini albums, I do everything very differently. And sometimes I like to do this, just kind of have a little formula, because it's easy to go by. Plus, when you add different elements on the top, it looks very different. And let me show you. So here's the one what we're doing now. So here's the plaid. We're going to put the cows. Of course, we're going to get to all the goodies that go on top of it. And this is going to be that strip. And see, we put the little pig here from the stickers. And we're going to make this a little tuck area with 2 tags. When I flip over, this is the same formula, but it looks really different because we've used really different elements. This time we're going to glue a tag on the top of this, and we're going to have something hanging down, and we're going to have different things tucked in. And then this one looks very different because I've got this big cut apart here and a couple different things sticking in there. So even though it's the same formula, it looks very different from each other. So once we get the base layer down, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue there. That did not stick real well because these glassine bags are not perfect, right? And they got little bumps on the edges. So I'm just going to take the time to make sure I've got mine glued down well so it doesn't pull up. Then I'm going to take this glassine bag we folded in half, and I'm going to line it up at the bottom of the first glassine bag, right at the bottom there. So you might ask, why did we mat all the way down? Well, my reasoning for doing that is I really think adding these layers to these glassine bags gives it a lot of stability, and it's not really using that much more pattern paper that you're not seeing now, but it really makes this bag stable. Because if we just put this on the bottom and there's nothing in between it, it might kind of be floppy, and we don't want that. So that's coming together. See, now you can see this is pretty substantial compared to these we were talking about earlier. Okay, so let's do these cows. I think this is such an unexpected pop of color to have all these pinks and greens, and then you have cows at the bottom. I think that's really cute. So I can't wait to see what choices you make on this kit. And once again, I put these measurements out there that leaves a pretty big border around it so you can see a lot of the glassine bag. You don't have to do that. You can cut your papers a little bit larger if you don't like that, but I really wanted it to be apparent that these were glassine bags. And then I'm going to put my strip about 1 inch down from the top of that plaid paper and glue that into place. And then we're going to come back after we get all of our pages, the first coat I like to say, done on our pages, and do the finishing touches by adding stickers and tags and all that. See how quickly this is going to come together? So just go ahead, I say, let me get my book and make sure I'm doing right. And I would cut and ink everything at the same time. That'll probably take you about 30 minutes to do that. And then it makes it so enjoyable when you sit down to start matting. See how quickly it will go and how cute it looks. And I always get tickled when I see pictures on our Facebook group, Lisa Wise Designs, of the different pages that people come up with. And I think I mentioned last video what my mother did. She used her extra glassine bag and made another flip, and it was so cute. I've got to get some pictures of hers and post them. I think you'll enjoy that. And she did a little bit different matting too. That's always nice to see. Okay, then we're going to put the daisy paper on top of it. Yep, once you get it designed and you kind of know what paper choices you're going to use, it really comes together quick. That's the thing that takes me the longest, I think, is picking my papers and what goes together, and you know, and then what elements am I going to use on top of it to kind of pull it all together, which colors. So this has been so much fun for me to go back through and kind of do it all again. and see how quickly it can go together. Now we're going to use our chickens and roosters. My nephew, who is just about to turn 16, decided that he wanted some chickens. So he has got some baby chicks that he is raising. And it has been quite the task of keeping them warm and keeping his dog away from them. And he's giving them hilarious names like Banjo. So once again, I flip over the pocket that we folded in half to the back, and I'm just going to put glue around the bottom rectangle, keeping away from this top piece here because the glue might show through on that one. Excuse me, my voice is cracking because it's so early in the morning. I guess I haven't talked enough to get it going. So there we go. And I know somebody out there is going to tell me that you could just glue around the edges and use this for a pocket here and a pocket here, and I think that would be cute too. So I hope somebody does that so I do get to see it, because that would totally work. Put this here. And in my original, I did not add this stripe with the rooster, but I really think it would be cute with this piece underneath it. It kind of help bring this over also and bring that red and blues together. So I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put it this time here, but I think I'm going to put it more toward the bottom. I've already got him cut here. Yeah, I'm going to put it about a little more toward the bottom than middle. There we go. So in this particular paper pack, one of the papers you only have one of the pattern papers you only have one of, and that's the back of this sheet. Here, let me see. Yeah, because you've got your front sheet, right? That's your title page, and on the back it's got your cut aparts. And on, you have another of those cut aparts, and it's the only one that has this green check on it. So just kind of be careful about that. So you might want to cut this sheet up so that you have a full sheet of the green check. That's something I did not think about when I was working on it, so I just warn you for that. When you start cutting, maybe you cut this one instead of this one. But the ones I cut out, I'm using this big rooster, and I'm using this strip here. Those are the ones I know for sure that I'm going to use. And of course, you feel free to use any of the rest of them, but those for sure. So I went ahead and cut it out of this, and I'm using the back scraps from that cut in this next step. So let's go through here. Let's go back to the cutting guide. So if we look at page 14, it gives you the measurements how to cut the backs of these glassine bags. So let's see what our formula is here. So the first one, it tells you to cut this sheet, and then you're going to have one that's a little shorter that goes underneath it. So you're kind of putting these together, you're butting them up, and then you're having a 1/2 inch to 3/8 of an inch. I cut mine a little bigger, probably 3/8 of an inch, even though it says half. And that's going to kind of pull these two papers together. So that's what that's going to look like. And then the next one is going to be dots and this rooster chicken paper with some red, like that. And then the last one is probably my favorite. It is this beautiful flower paper. And there's the back of that paper I was just showing you, just to be careful because you only have one sheet of this, which I don't know why. This is probably the prettiest to me, the green check. So then it's going to go there also with a strip of red. So let's get started gluing these down. So this is the back sheets. Hold on, hold on. Move you over, bring you over. It's so much fun seeing this finally come all together. This is really cute too. It looks like everything to do with farms, but it's in like bottle cap form almost. I think that's real cute. So I'm gonna have to kind of lay this out where you have about the same amount on the two sides and the top right there, the opening of the pocket. And if you get off just a little bit, it's okay, because this little center piece will pull it all together. If you overlap it just a little bit, your two pieces, or if you don't have quite enough room, that's going to be coming handy. So see, maybe if I wanted this down a little further and this is not exactly coming together, like butted up together, that's okay. So I do think mine does need to come down a little further. And let's see, try to get that as even as I can. And mine is off a little bit. Looks like it's not exactly straight, but I'm not going to worry about that either. As long as we get this one on straight, it's going to look great, just like that. Yeah, that's going to be cute. You'd never know. I'm always scared that I'm putting glue on the wrong side of the paper. Not that there is a right and wrong. You know, it's art. It's I was gonna say artwork. It's art, and no matter if you like it, it looks good. A lot of people always say, "Do you think this looks good? Does this work?" Well, if you like it, it works, right? It's art. But I kind of like to follow back along with what we have done. And this looks limey on screen, doesn't it? But it's really not. It's like a deep, pretty green. Okay, to the next page. Now this is where I'm gonna do dots and roosters and red. So, make sure I put glue right in the corners, because I've been having to go back to those. So make sure I've got those done pretty well. Tried to make a mess, didn't I, by dropping it with glue on it. That's okay. Chicks. Just like that. So in this one, I'm going to hang on to this red piece for a minute and come back to it, and I will show you why. Just a second. I'm not sure if I want to put it down. This is what I did on the original. It's got that red piece behind it. It's hard to see, but then I put this bigger piece over it, and then this becomes a tuck area. So I'm not sure I need the red, so I went ahead and cut it. We'll come back to it in just a second and take a look and get to decorating. Okay, now it's time for this pretty rose paper. This is pretty paper. I'm not sure how it fits in with the kitchen theme, except it's beautiful. It's very country looking print. My sister and I always call prints like this Aunt May's dress. Aunt May's dress. She used to wear big pretty florals like this all the time in her house dresses. I'm sure somebody out there can relate. Now on this next strip, we need to be careful about it too, because what I did on this one is I glued down this side, but I left the other side open for this tag. So I'm gonna put a little piece of glue just to hold it down, and then on this side, so I'm just going to put barely a little bit to cover that side, and then the last, not half, but maybe, you know, 3/8 or so of this, I'm going to glue down, and we can come back and add more glue underneath it once we put our tag down. But I just wanted to make sure you realize that one of these little tags is going to go right here. Like I say, and if it's too loose, see, I've got lots of play right now, we'll add some more glue to that when we get to that part. And if worst comes to worst, if you glue this whole thing down, you can also glue that tag down, because all it is a decorative piece. So look how quick that was. That was really quick. I love that. Okay, so let's do some decorating. So I cut out these two cut-aparts, which I mentioned earlier. These are the two I know that I'm going to use. And I cut mats for them in black. So I trimmed as much down of this rooster as I could. I got really close to the rooster and the writing. So it wound up being 3 1/4 wide by 3 7/8 long. So that's just an estimate there for you. And so the black, which I guess is the back, is 3 1/2 by 4 1/8. That's what I did on mine. And on this house strip, it is 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And the black is 2 by 5 1/2, yeah, because I didn't want it to be any longer. So I'm just going to take my glue and glue these down. So you can pick other stickers, you can pick other elements. Of course, there's tons of cut-aparts that you can choose from, so you can personalize this. And I didn't choose this paper because I'm a big rooster fan. I'll show you why I chose it. But here's the other cut-aparts you can choose. Bless This Kitchen, which would be really cool. And I used this sticker, so that's why I did not choose that one. My mother used this somewhere, either the sticker, because it's so cute in her album. And I used this in sticker form, so I didn't want to use that one. But there's lots of cute ones. That farm to table is cute too. And let's flip over here. This is the back one. And the reason I thought this one went well is because it kind of pulls this in, right? It kind of makes this make sense to me. Of course, all of it's pretty. I don't think, you have to look at it that way. I just kind of look at things that way. I'm like, okay, well, this will help this kind of pull together. I am going to glue the bottom half. I can always go back and add glue, but I'm going to put glue just on the bottom half because this is going to stick out above the pocket, and then I'm going to glue it eyeball center with just the tiniest bit of the glassine bag on the bottom showing. And then the tiniest bit of this black mat sticks out over the pocket, just like that. But we're going to use big tags, so it's not a big deal. It still looks really good there to put that in the pockets here. So cute. So there's that one. And then on the other side here is where I decided to put this strip. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this together. See that pretty green paper again? We're going to use a lot of that when we're matting our elements because it is so pretty. That check kind of pulls that green out from lots of different paper. So mat this here, eyeball center. Have it about the same on the top and the bottom. And we still have this red strip if we think we need it. But since I used this, I think what I'll do, I don't think I need it. It's not going to show it all because I cut this at 5 1/2, exactly the same as this one. So all we need to do is the bottom, about the bottom 1/3 to 1/2. We need to add glue. This is going to be a big tuck point for us. Okay, this. And I'm going to put it just below this opening here. Right there. Put that down. So now you've got a really cute tuck point here. And it's kind of, so you can see how big the point is, what we've got open here. So there's lots right there. So if you don't like that there's a little bit opening right here, which I really can't tell, you can put that red piece on there, but I think it looks fine. so there's that one. So let's work our way here. We need to do some tags now. Yeah, and some stickers. Okay, so now let's go back to the front. We're gonna start with this one, and we need the pig sticker. Yay, we finally get to work with stickers. So we wanna grab this sticker here, this big pig, and we're gonna grab the leftover piece of our black, and I need to put the pen in my glue, and I can't help myself. I'm gonna use my vintage photo. I'm gonna go around the little piggy. I'm gonna put him here in the corner of my black piece of paper. I am not the world's best fussy cutter, if you have seen me before. So what I like to do is I like to come out about 1/8 of an inch and draw lines where I think I need to cut, kind of sketch it out a little bit. So this way I feel a lot more comfortable cutting in my paper because I've kind of got a rough guide. So this way, if I don't draw it right the first time, if I don't sketch it out right, I can go back and sketch it a little better before I start cutting. Now this is let me see if I can get you to see this. You can see it real lightly here, that pencil line. This is an extra step, of course, that most people will not have to do, but I think it might be helpful for someone, because I know I do this on just about all my stickers. So what I did is I cut off the majority of the excess, so I don't have all that to deal with a bigger pair of scissors, and then I go to some smaller detail scissors. So if you've been following my videos, can you tell that I got a new pair of scissors? I'm so excited, they finally came. I have never owned a pair of cutter bees before, and I don't know why. I guess I've always had Fisker's scissors, but like I've said before, you're really only as good as your tools on some things. And my little Fiskars I was using was really leaving some jagged edges when I was trying to fussy cut. So obviously that's not what they were made for. They were made for larger cuts. So I do like them. I like these, and I got the Tim Holtz haberdashery scissors, and we'll use those down the line, and I'll let you know how I feel about those. But yes, this does a pretty good job. So on this first page, you know, if you cut your strips like mine, there's probably a pig somewhere on there. So I just kind of covered that pig up with the big pig. Does not matter, it's not that big of a deal, but that's kind of what I did. If you'd rather have him on the side or wherever. But I just thought that was cute. Not that anyone's ever gonna know, right? There was a pig under there. But I thought that just made sense. Right, here's the pig. There's the pig. And then look at the little pig here and the little piglets. So cute. So, don't worry if your fussy cutting is not perfect. Even after I drew mine, see I still got thin here. It's still really cute. No one's ever gonna know, even though sometimes I get all weeggy about it. I do realize, like, no one cares. So let's flip on over, and I'm dying to do the front. A lot of times people wait to the last minute to do their front because they don't want it to get dirty. We've done the majority of the moving around of the book and stuff, so right now we're just doing finishing touches. So I think it's fine to go ahead and make and put down our front here. So let's do that together, and then this will be the last thing that we tackle today. So we're going to need a couple of tags. Let me see. You've got 3 tags in your kit, so I'm going to call it a small, medium, large. You're going to need a medium and a large tag. You're going to need to cut down some 1/4 of an inch strips of red. This is what we're making here. We're going to need a sticker, and we're going to need one of our die cuts. And then we're going to need some pattern paper and some of our string. So first things first, let me dig around in here and find the die cut I want to use. I love this one. It says memories are made when gathered around the table. So first things first, let's get our tags ready. So tags need to be trimmed down slightly. On your large tag, we're going to cut off 1 3/4 of an inch off of it. 1 3/4 is coming off the bottom. Need to make it a little shorter. So for those of you who are using your own tags, this winds up being 3 1/8 by 4 1/2. So that's the one that's going to go right here. Then this medium tag that you have, I wanted it to be a little thinner, so I'm going to show you that trick. Right now it's at 2 3/8, and I want it to be at 2. So first things first, cut off the bottom 1 1/2. So let's cut the bottom off first. And that's going to bring us to 3 1/4, right? Then off the side, I'm going to take a little less than 1/4 of an inch off. I'm going to go over to the 1/4 of an inch and pull it back just a hair and trim that off. And don't worry, we're going to make it look like a tag again. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to put it on the 2-inch mark on this side and then cut what's left off. So I'll tell you what we have left. So we should have 2 inches by 3 1/4 of an inch. That's what you should have left over. And so the circle, since we cut off both sides, should be kind of in the center. It may not be exact, but no one's ever going to know that either. So grab another medium tag that you have. And you're going to take the one you just cut off and you're going to put it behind this medium tag you grabbed. You're going to line up the top and line up the side, and this little piece that's sticking out, you're going to draw that diagonal line. Excuse me. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. To make it easy, I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to line up the top and the side, draw my line here. There's lots of different ways you could do this. You could actually use your angle punch. If you wanted to have exactly the same angle, this is what I would do, and it's close enough. And it gives you that tag shape back. So if you don't have the exact right size tag, there are ways to get that without buying more of them. Just bottom line. Okay, ink up the edges here. Then we're going to cut some pattern paper. We're going to put our little strips on there and add our ribbons. Oh, it's so much fun. Since I already have this one out, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And kind of be a little easy because it's got these little points at the top that look a little precarious. There we go. So cute. So country and so cute. All right, let's see what's next. So what I used on this one was the daisy paper and then the dot paper. So let's see if I can find scraps of that. Okay, that's definitely not big enough. I love it when I can find it in my scraps. I don't know why. You know, I don't know why we're like that. Like, yay, I can use this up. No. I have to use that one. Okay, yeah, we have lots and lots of leftovers. And I've got it. How many sheets did I not cut into? I've got 1, 2, 3 sheets that we did not cut into. So you have not too much paper left over, but you do have paper left over that you can do lots of tags with. So we want a piece that's 3 1/8 wide by 3 tall. Go ahead and cut 3 off here. And then it needs to a little bit bigger than 3, 3 1/8 if you want it to go all the way across. Here we go, just like that. And then the little one was right at 2, right? Yep, 2. And how big did I make this one? 2 by 1 7/8, so just a little bit less than 2. So 2. So you could make this 2 by 2. Let's do that. This doesn't have to be that exact. There we go. 2 by 2 looks great. And then we have our 1/4 of an inch strips. So grab my distress ink again. Alright, we'll start with the little baby one. So I think I've already, it's kind of hard to see on this one if I inked it up or not, so I guess it doesn't matter that much if you can't see it. So this is going to kind of butt up here and here. I'm not going to have a lot of room. Maybe that's why I did the 1 7/8, huh? Huh, Lisa? So I'm going to cut these in our 2 inches. Alright, so we need 2 inches. And I've already forgot what this one was. 3 1/8? Yeah. 3 1/8. So you could always put these down on top of the tag, glue them, and then trim them off the side with scissors, but I'm going to do it this way. Alright, I'm going to make sure everything's nice and inky. Yeah, so be sure and let me know too if you like to ink the edges or if you think that's just too much. But I like it. I like the look of that. So I'm going to put this here and then put the red here and there. So on this one I don't have a lot of extra room. So I'm going to start way up here and cover up a little bit of the hole reinforcement. And then I will put my dot paper and then my red here. And you can always overlap it if you want to. Okay, I just can't help myself. I just don't have enough room, so I'm going to cut about 1/8 of an inch off. So I really want to see a little bit of that white at the bottom. There we go. I really think that's going to look better. I almost glued that crooked. Maybe because my top red piece is a little crooked. And then this bottom strip here. Yeah, I definitely like seeing part of that white at the bottom, kind of help offset this big part here at the top. So that's why I did 1 7/8, I guess. Or I could have made my tag a little bit longer the first time around. Let me clean my glue. It's getting gunky. And then we will do this one. I think I have a lot more room on this one. Here. Here. Alright, so let's kind of plan this one out a little bit. See exactly where we need to start gluing. So I have it turned wrong. There we go. So this one I left myself a little more room, so I don't have to start right there on that hole reinforcement. not sure why I can't seem to get this on straight this morning. Yeah, that's much better. Maybe it's just too early for me to be crafting. About the only time I ever get up and do work like this is when I'm at the office. I usually don't craft early or early-ish in the morning before 9 anyway. And today is Father's Day. I hope that you're having a nice day today. So I'm getting this in right before I go to church. So cute. So we can go ahead and glue this memories or Maeve gathered around the table right there in the center. And once again, I'll kind of tell you how I came up with picking these certain patterns. One reason is because this die cut that we're gluing on has daisies in it, even though it might be a little bit hard to see. It's got little daisy patterns, so I thought that would be cute to have the daisies behind it to help reinforce that. And the spine of the book has daisies on it that helps pull that together. And the dots here help pull all the different colors together. So now what we need to do is get our sticker for this one. And I chose this one right here. And of course that's way too bright for this. You see how this one I've got inked up a lot, especially around the edges. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I want it to look country and not brand new, so I went all around the edges, and I even came in a little further than normal. And then now you've got a perfect little place for this sticker to live. So if you decide you want to use a different sticker, you might want to size your tag to the one that you pick out to use there. Okay, so now it's ribbon time. What I chose was the yellow ribbon and then this red string. So you need about 8 inches of the yellow. So let me make for sure. That's usually, I think you only, you use this 3 times. You're gonna make sure that you have enough. Yeah, so that's right. So if you use 8, 8, and 8, then you have a tiny bit left. Sorry about that. My mind had to cipher early this morning. So that's what I usually use for tags. That's kind of my formula, because 8 seems to work to help you get a little bit of a tail. And it also seems to help you have enough to use with your fingers to get it through that hole, even though you've got a little bit left over at the end to trim off. So what I like to do to ribbon tail these is I fold them in half, and then I take my scissors coming from the bottom outside up toward my fingers, which don't cut yourself, and I like to cut in a V shape, just like that. And that way you get this perfect little ribbon tail. But then look at that, I'm going to scrunch it up, but I want it to look that way, so I'm going to just kind of give it that country feel. You could just use it at an angle if you want to, but I kind of like this look. I fold it in half. Once again, I start at the bottom going up toward my fingers and cut it. There we go. Just how I like mine to look here. Then I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take the loop side and push it through the front of the largest tag. I just like to use my pencil. Push it through. Now take that loop, put your fingers in it, and pull. If I can get them in there, you pull those 2 ends through the loop and then pull it tight. And so now you've got nice ribbon sticking out. And now's when you would trim it down usually, but I went ahead and trimmed mine because I know I wanted that whole look to it. So now let's see with the red. How many times do I use the red? I think I use it only 1 time, 2 times, okay. So I use it 3 times. So this, we're going to use about 15. So I'm going to cut this down to 15, and then you should have 2 pretty good pieces left over. So first thing I did is I came around on the yellow bow on the big tag, and I am going to tie a I'm going to tie a bow just like you would in a pair of shoes. I just can't seem to tie and talk at the same time. So I'm trying to use as little as possible, have left over on the side of my bow. So just trying to be a little meticulous here. Come on. And this is one thing that we can all fuss with for a long time, right, is tying a cute bow. But this is country, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I just tied a bow on top of the yellow, and then this long string that I have left over, which on this one, it's about 8 inches left. I'm going to just pull through the small tag and tie a knot. So this is kind of where we're going with this here. Yeah, so I've got plenty. So 15 inches is really good on something like this. You're using a lot of extra because we're tying two together, and you want to have a lot of play in them just for the look. See how this kind of sways down like this? So yeah, that's good. That's good, 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 good. So I wind up, if it's important to you, I wind up about 4.5 inches from the top of, from this string here to this string here, if you were to pull them out, if that helps someone. And so then I have just a little bit left that we might trim off here. We will see. Since it's not too tight of a knot, we can always undo this one if it's not exactly the way we want. So on the front of the album, what I did is I kind of put the bigger one. Let's see if I can get this to give a little bit better color here. It's just so bright right now. We're going to put this one to the upper right, and then I'm going to put this one over a little bit onto this red strip and a little bit onto the first one. So you can kind of play around with placement there. I do have this ribbon where it's kind of coming off the top of the book. So that's kind of the way I have mine set up. This is my original here. So I hope you have enjoyed this class. I'm really excited about the front of this album. I don't know why putting these 2 tags on here makes me so happy, but it does. If you decide to make one of these, please go and post some pictures for the rest of us to get inspiration from on our Facebook group. And that group name is Lisa Wise Designs. And we would love to see it, and we would love to offer you some praise on it, because we definitely are a positive only group. So once again, if you want to pick up the kit or the tutorial, the links are below. I have an Etsy shop, Lisa Wise Designs. And I will see you here tomorrow, same time, same place, and we will continue with decorating. So let's see what we've got so far. Adorable, even though the brightness, the sun is shining bright on us. So let's see what we've got left to do. So when we come back, we're going to continue working on tags. We'll do some layering to make some of these tags. Here, we got to make this one. We got to make this one with this little tag that looks like a T tag hanging down here. So we've got 1 or maybe 2 more videos to get through all of these cutesy tags. You can just take a look at them. I'm sure you could do them yourself, but it's kind of fun to craft together. So we'll come back and finish all this up over the next day or 2. Thank you guys as always, and I'll see you tomorrow.